It's Monday, May 3rd, and the time for your Barbados Today morning news update. It's back to the classroom for face-to-face classes today, but not all students will be at the physical school plants right now. After months of online learning, Class 3 and 4 students at the primary level and Forms 4 and 5 at the secondary level will make their way to school this morning. However, the Ministry of Education said cleanup efforts at some schools are still not completed, and as such, Class 3 and 4 students of St. Paul's Primary School, 5th form classes of Alexandra, Coleridge and Parry, and Combermere schools will be held online today. Those classes are expected to commence face-to-face tomorrow, Tuesday, May 4th. The ministry said only 6th form students of Alexandra and Combermere schools will report for face-to-face classes today, while a subsequent announcement will be made on when other students will return to their schools. They will be online in the meantime. Education Minister Cynthia Bradshaw has reminded students that all protocols must be followed.
Just to remind students that even while you're walking on the road, it is important that you continue to wear the mask, because this was a big problem on the last occasion where students were not taken seriously when they leave the school plant. The protocols in relation to continuing to wear masks. And so we will have a special COVID monitoring unit that will be assisting the Ministry of Education. It's a special group within the unit right now that is dedicated to education. They will not only be visiting the schools, but they will certainly be on the roads as well, drawing to our attention where there may be breaches both inside and outside of the school plant.
Minister Bradshaw also said assessments will take place for Class 4 students preparing for the Common Entrance exam.
I believe after week 2 or 3, the assessments are going to be done as we would have indicated before, and priorities being given to trying to see where those students really are and whether they have had any deficits as a result of being away during this period. I think that really, and I'll continue to reiterate it, that really is the ministry's first priority, because not every child has a parent that can afford extra lessons, and therefore during this period it has been very difficult for a number of students to be able to acquire the assistance or even have access to the devices or have the Wi-Fi working in the community, even if they had access to a device. So we're very sensitive to that, and we are hopeful that once we're able to do the assessments, we would have a better understanding as to where our students are at, and then we can make the announcement in relation to the way forward for those students.
A veteran social worker is giving the Ministry of Education the thumbs up for plans to implement a mental health committee to determine how students and teachers are coping during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. However, George Griffith tells Barbados Today he's hoping such a committee will get to work as soon as possible. He's also hoping the proposed committee takes a wholesome approach to dealing with the challenges facing students.
The establishment of a mental health and wellness committee is a great idea. However, it would be good to hear which professional disciplines will be included and some more details about its proposed functioning, because as we all should know, the challenges confronting children, their parents, the households and the school system as a consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic are multifaceted and requires not only an immediate intervention, but the medium and long-term implications must be seriously provided for. And by that I mean there must be a thorough assessment which will lead to a plan of action. We must know that adequate resources are available, and that included in all of that would be an ongoing monitoring and evaluation process to ensure its focus and success.
Persons are being reminded to come forward for the second dose of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. It's coming from the co-coordinator of the National Vaccination Program, Major David Clark, who has made it clear that one dose of the vaccine will not fully protect persons against COVID-19. So far, 16,549 people have been fully vaccinated against the virus. 74,608 people have received their first doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. Major Clark tells Barbados Today persons are not showing up for the second dose of the vaccine is not a concern at this time, but it was imperative that people are fully immunized.
It is important that the general population who are vaccinated realize that you're not protected until you have had both doses, and it's important that the people come back for the second dose. There are some people who may have got the first dose, but they need to come back for the second dose. The average rate is that most people don't actually come back for the second dose, but 70% normally don't come back for the second dose, but we're trying to hope that we will get as many people as possible. So if we can get 100% of people come back, we'll be really thankful. It's not a concern because the people are coming out. As I said, if people wait for their appointment, but there are people who are coming and then their friends here, well, they've got an appointment. But we've got to reschedule the appointment because there are some sites that we're not using now, and we've had to move people to different locations. So everybody can't come on the same day that they actually went to when they got the first dose.
3 females tested positive for COVID-19 on Saturday. At the same time, 7 people recovered from the viral illness, leaving 92 persons in isolation. So far, the country has recorded 3,866 confirmed cases of COVID-19, comprising 1,877 females and 1,989 males. 3,800 people have recovered. The island has lost 44 people to COVID-19. Consumers are paying more for some petroleum products. The retail price of gasoline increased by 2 cents and now costs $3.79 per liter. Diesel decreased by 2 cents and is now being sold at $2.94 per liter, while kerosene costs 3 cents less and retails at $1.20 per liter. The 100-pound cylinder of liquefied petroleum gas now costs $149.19, the 25-pound cylinder $42.40, the 22-pound cylinder $37.47, and the 20-pound cylinder now sells at $34.07. The price adjustment went into effect at midnight on Sunday.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
The news from the region. The start of the 2021 hurricane season is just a month away, but disaster officials in the Bahamas are taking no chances and are urging residents to start their preparations. More in this report from Eyewitness News, Bahamas.
Colorado State University has predicted 17 named storms, 8 hurricanes, and 4 major hurricanes this season. This comes on the heels of what forecasters say was a record-breaking season in 2020.
We had 30 named storms, of which 6 developed into hurricanes. 13 developed into hurricanes and 6 into major hurricanes.
After that busy hurricane season, members of the 2021 Hurricane Committee retired the names Dorian and Laura and replaced them with Dexter and Leah, as well as the names Eta and Iota. These names were not replaced as the Greek alphabet was completely withdrawn from use.
Hurricane preparedness must become a part of our way of life. We must have our family plans, evacuation plans, community plans, business continuity plans, and sector plans all ready to put into action if it becomes necessary.
National Emergency Management Agency Director Captain Stephen Russell says the time to prepare is now. This as the Ministry of Disaster Preparedness and Reconstruction marks Disaster Preparedness Month in May, a move to encourage residents to start preparing for an emergency as early as possible under the theme We Are All NEMA, Stronger Than Ever.
Finally, Pfizer Inc. is set to export COVID-19 vaccines out of the United States. More from Reuters TV.
The U.S. will begin exporting Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine to other countries. One source familiar with the matter exclusively told Reuters a shipment of Pfizer shots going to Mexico this week includes doses made in its U.S. plant. The source said it's the first time the drug maker is delivering the vaccines abroad from the U.S. That's after a Trump-era restriction on exporting Pfizer's shots expired at the end of March. Pfizer and German partner BioNTech SE have so far been supplying other countries through its main European production plant in Belgium. Mexico has received 10 million doses of Pfizer shots so far and is expected to receive 2 million more this week. It's unclear how much of that will come from the U.S. Pfizer said it will be making 25 million shots every week in the U.S. by mid-year. That would mean successfully honoring a deal to deliver 300 million doses to the country by July. But as the U.S. swiftly vaccinates its population, many other countries are struggling to acquire vaccine supplies. They've repeatedly called on Washington to release its surplus in recent weeks. Pfizer has promised to deliver 1 billion doses to foreign governments and said it expects to produce up to 2.5 billion doses of its vaccine this year. The company said it will use its extra capacity in its U.S. facilities to deliver shots overseas.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.